food security is an important factor of public health. Hi guys, I'm Katla. Welcome to my 11th episode, and the start of my second season, I'm trying to plan my content in about 10 episode chunks, so yeah. This is season 2. Happy slightly belated anniversary to the first shelter-in-place stay-at-home orders for the state of California. I meant to get this episode out a couple days ago, but life happens. Rather than give a retrospective of the past 365 plus a couple days, that would just kind of be me screaming in terror and frustration for 20 minutes, I decided I was going to talk about one of the most positive experiences that has come out of the past year for me, and that is my work with food banks. Also wearing my LA Regional Food Bank t-shirt because that is where I started with this. For those of you new to my channel, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, as I am trying to release content fairly frequently, every day, every other day-ish. And for those who are returning, welcome back. This is going to be one of my more personal discussions, but I'll still just say this disclaimer. I'm not a medical doctor or a public health expert. I like talking about public health, and food security is an important factor of public health. As you can see in one of my previous episodes where I discussed the connection between malnutrition and infectious disease. First thing, if you are to take anything away from this episode, know that the best thing you can donate to a food bank is money, and the second best is your time. Basically, food banks have such wide clientele that we have the power to buy in bulk and really stretch every dollar. Additionally, one of the biggest scarcities at food banks is storage space. So when we get a huge amount of donations from individuals that we didn't necessarily plan for, it is a bit more effort for us. It's difficult to keep our operations running smoothly when that kind of thing gets thrown into the loop. Now, I'm not saying that we aren't grateful for every single donation. We love our support. It is important to support this, but if you're considering what is the best option, please donate money. If you can't donate money and you want to help, donating your time. Come and volunteer. Food banks generally can be socially distanced very easily right now with the pandemic, or distributions are generally done outside right now. No contact, drive-through kind of setups. I love it. I love this work so much. I keep saying that. So why did I start volunteering in the first place for food banks? Well, I have a couple reasons. So first reason, I feel like it's a bit of a selfish reason, but that's when you're the intentions or the outcome, which matters more in this moral qualm. But I had noticed around June of 2020, my depression was kind of creeping in from the social isolation, and I was I need to get out. I really just need to socialize and exercise, so the physical activity bit of doing food distributions is a plus. Second, as I said in a previous episode, I had already had COVID-19 at this point. I had it around the second, third week of May of 2020. So I felt a bit safer going out and socializing. I had a bit more confidence. Obviously I was still being safe, still wearing masks, still socially distanced, still outdoors using unholy amounts of hand sanitizer and washing my hands a ton. But I really just wanted to use my antibodies for good. If I had to go through this sucky experience, might as well go out there, make myself feel better with volunteering, and bring something good from it. Really just make contracting the illness worth it. And specifically, for my third reason why I chose to volunteer with food banks is that malnutrition has such a profound and harmful impact on infectious disease. One of the statistics we went over for measles just demonstrates this fact so well. So for a healthy child that has the best healthcare in the world, that is economically advantaged and is food secure, never been malnourished in their life, prime specimen of health kind of thing, there is a 1 in 1,000 chance of them passing from measles. Now, if you compare a severely malnourished child, there is a 1 in 3 chance of them passing from measles. The comparison of those two case fatality rates really drove home why addressing food insecurity is so desperately important. And then also for a recent project I've done, and you can see this in one of my previous episodes, is that I addressed the connection between malnutrition and COVID-19, where 2/3 of patients admitted to the ICU due to COVID-19 symptoms were malnourished. So I started volunteering with LA Regional Food Bank in July of 2020, and with that I mainly worked for the food distributions in the school system, where we would distribute the USDA Farmers to Families boxes. USDA Farmers to Family boxes are part of TFAP, which is the Emergency Food Assistance Program. And so this is for families who suddenly lost income and they haven't been able to apply for food stamps or any other assistance, or it's also a very temporary loss in income, so it's just like to get them by for the next week. But also with the pandemic, there's some people who have to come back week after week after week, because really this is the program that a lot of money was put into at this time for addressing the potential food insecurity crises we see with like the miles and miles going to food distributions. So I was helping run like the drive-through food distributions. So someone would pull up, I'd pack their car trunk with a couple boxes of different foods, and that was it. That was every morning for 2 to 3 hours, right, like before it got hot out, because it was summertime. So it was a nice routine. It really got me to regulate my sleep schedule, and so I was going to bed at a reasonable hour and getting up. And so I'd go to one of these distributions, help run it, get like my workout in for the day, then go on with my studies for the day. And I really loved that. So then eventually, after a couple of weeks, I was alerted of another nonprofit that needed dedicated volunteers for a more intensive operation, and that's where I am today. So I started at the beginning of August with this group, where we had 2 food distributions per week, and the time of each distribution would range from 4 to 6 hours. It was intense. So each family that came through got about $300 worth of groceries to cover themselves until our next distribution. For each distribution day, we would serve between 600 and 800 families. And it's a fast-paced, physically intense job, and I love it. Unfortunately, over time, due to the decrease in federal funding to our region, we had to drop our food distributions down to 1 day per week, but that didn't stop me from spending more time with this nonprofit. And I started assisting with their other programs, which included like homeless outreach, where we would either go to motels where unhoused families were living or to encampments, and we would distribute meals and hygiene supplies. Also recently, we started up another food distribution that's much smaller, and so I am like one of the few volunteers that manages that, and it's just nice little like extra thing to go out and do. And I find myself working with this nonprofit like easily 20 hours per week. It's not just the work that I love, it's the people there. This nonprofit and all the other workers and volunteers are really the social support and community I was lacking even before the pandemic. Also, one thing I just kind of want to clarify, because I use the terms volunteer and work interchangeably. So my main thing right now is that I am studying full-time, and I am privileged enough that I have the monetary support to not need to work and not worry about employment right now. However, with this volunteering, I am now in a bit of a leadership position. It is a commitment. I am relied upon to show up. And also, at times when I've done other specialized tasks for the nonprofit has been able to get a grant specifically to employ me as a temp worker. So I have gotten compensated at times for it. So right now it is a volunteer job, but because of the leadership role I have, the commitment I need to it, and how integral I am into it, it is a job still. And I'm just privileged enough to not need to worry about money and dedicate myself to social causes I care about and things I'm passionate about that I will hope to be making part of my profession in the future when I have the power to do so. Volunteering with a focus on food insecurity and genuinely making a difference every week has really focused me onto this path that I am passionate about, where I want to combine my passion for social causes along with public health and infectious disease. The more I research and study, the more I care just so much about this cause. And really, I made this channel so that I would have a creative outlet to help process what I do and what I see and what I read and everything in my life that affects me right now. I'm here to get out my frustrations after hard days, but also celebrate and educate after the good days. Everything I see is so intertwined between social outreach and public health and the medical science and health effects of everything. And it is so important. I guess that was kind of my long rambly rant about why I like working at a food bank. I hope I maybe inspired you to also volunteer at a food bank or find a cause that you just care about and work for it if you have the time and you're able to. And yeah, happy 1 year since the gravity of the situation we're in truly dawned for many of us. It did for me at least. And yeah, please make sure to like, subscribe, check out my socials. I have Twitter and Stereo linked below. And until next time, stay safe, wear a mask, volunteer with a cause you're passionate about, and I'll see you later.